Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Appreciate you joining me here today on the show. Here is one that I'm going to be implementing in my life on a daily basis going forward. Very simple, very straightforward. I'm going to share with you the top 10 antioxidants that you can get as a fruit, as a tea, as a powder, that you can just add to your daily routine to enable you to get that much better health-based results. So the health results look like lowering of cholesterol, lowering of blood pressure, improving overall blood sugar levels, decreasing the wrinkles on the skin, decreasing anti-aging overall. Why is it able to do this? Well, because if we get more antioxidants, natural antioxidants into our body, they help to squelch free radicals and oxidative stress. Here's the issue. As we get older, especially after the age of 40, our body creates more oxidative stress. We're less able to balance inflammation than we could when we were in our single-digit years, teens, and early 20s. So this is an easy way that I found that I just simply get more into my routine by putting in the beverages that I already drink. It'll make sense in 1 second, but this is actually taken from a really important study we've touched on in the past, but we've never really taken you through the top 10 and how easy it really can be. So this study was the total antioxidant content of more than 3,100 foods, beverages, spices, herbs, and supplements used worldwide. I want to bring you the top 10 essentially beverages that you can use. Spices, herbs, things that could be considered teas, however you want to look at it, herbal or caffeinated, and that you can add to your routine. This study used what is called the FRAP method, the FRAP method of ranking antioxidants. There's also tables like the ORAC. They're all great. They measure them in different ways. The way that this works, because I always want you to have the knowledge and education behind it, and of course, I will link up the study. If you want to grab the study right now, it's at stephencabral.com/3456. That's also where I will list the top 10. So how it measures it is in micromoles per gram. So that's basically what we're looking at. Again, you don't really need to know that, but what you should know is that this is able to look at how well these beverages squelch the oxidative stress or free radicals from ferrous or from what is called iron oxidation in the body. So essentially, we all get iron in our body. We need some iron. We don't want a lot of iron in our body. We need what we need in order to be able to get the cells to be able to breathe, to bring in oxygen, to produce hemoglobin, all the great things that give us energy. So iron is very crucial. The problem is if we get too much, that's why you should always measure it on your blood work. Now, what happens is it creates more and more oxidative stress. Well, the nice thing is you can actually look at antioxidants and say, how well does this antioxidant squelch oxidants, right? Or oxidative stress. So when we go for a run, we exercise, we do sauna, we eat, we breathe, anything like that, we create oxidative stress. So this is one measure for that. And then the more antioxidants we get in, that of course, naturally, the better we're able to squelch the oxidation, and that means we'll show less signs of aging, of fatigue, and of aging-based diseases of the body. Now, of course, before I share with you my list right now, I have to say that I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, medical diagnosis, okay? We know that the all-powerful pharmaceutical industry is able to say that. All right, so let's get right into it. What are the top 10? And then I'll share exactly how I use them and how I'm going to be teaching my private clients to do that, and all of you as well. So let's go over it. This was exactly from that study, and I just put them in order of rank. So strongest to least strongest, we're going to start with least strongest, and I added in a couple extras for those people that might be consuming these. So I actually gave you 3 bonus ones. So the bonus ones are going to be black tea. That looks at about a 1,200. So I'm going to give you the number. So just think lowest to highest. 1,200, still a really good score. So that's that FRAP value, F-R-A-P value. And again, in the micromoles per 100 grams. So when we look at this, about 1,000 to 1,200. I'll just give you the high end of the score. We'll say 1,200 because there's a little bit of a range. So that's black tea. So again, still a great one. And that's why they show people who drink black tea actually get a lot of the antioxidant benefits, potentially for cholesterol, triglycerides, maybe even blood pressure, although there's a little bit of caffeine in there, and I don't recommend that if you have high blood pressure. All right, the next one is brewed green tea. We spoke about that, I believe, last week on the show. I know that we chatted about that just recently, and I will say that, we talked about it last Friday's show, that brewed green tea is not the same as matcha. Matcha is pretty much considered the gold standard. That is the same leaves, so you want to look for organic ceremonial grade green tea leaves, but then they are crushed, ground to a powder, and you consume the powder as a hot tea, or like 186 degrees to like maybe 176 degrees Fahrenheit, so you don't burn it. And that enables you to get a very large amount of ECGC and a lot of great nutrients from that antioxidant. So I will say, to be fair, that matcha was not specifically studied in this study, but green brewed tea had about, well, I'll give you the whole range, 1,300 to 2,600 units as a score. All right, next up, number 11, because these are bonus ones. These are ones that people drink all the time. The other ones, maybe not as much. Number 11 is Arabica brewed coffee. So coffee was 2,500 to 2,800 for a score. Again, a really good score. And this is also why you'll probably hear quite often that coffee is the number one source of antioxidants in Americans' diet. Remember, we rank 37th in the world in terms of health, and we spend the most money per person, population-wise, out of any industrialized country, and we are ranked dead last. There's a reason for that. We promote, as a society, not us, not you and I, of course, but as a society, one of the worst diets in the entire world, and it's simply, it's a direct line to the pharmaceutical industry. So the worse you eat, the less you move, the more likely it is you're going to be on a pharmaceutical for the rest of your life. And one pharmaceutical typically leads to another. By the time you're in your mid-50s to mid-60s, you're taking a handful of pharmaceuticals every single day. That is what they want. That is not what I want for you. Coffee, though, has a lot of antioxidants, and yes, it is good for all of the above. All of the top 3 causes of mortality: the blood pressure, the heart disease, which can be from imbalanced cholesterol, too much oxidized cholesterol, and also type 2 diabetes complications. So coffee can be a good thing. We don't want to overdo the caffeine. If we do have it, usually before noon. Decaf, Swiss water process, CO2 extraction can be really healthy as well. Make sure it's organic. Make sure it's mold-free. I don't know that I can link up anything today because I'm talking about diseases, so I know that I can't link up anything here today. The coffee that I use is just at stephencabral.com/resources. Those are my favorite brands, and you'll see one coffee there that's mold-free and organic. They have a regular and also a decaf. Okay, so we got through the 3 bonus ones because those are ones that people drink all the time. So that's where they rank. They're great, phenomenal. You don't need to stop doing them. Just obviously, you want to use them within moderation. 200 to 300 milligrams, typically maximum per day of caffeine. All right, next up, number 10 on the list, the official list, is prune juice. Yes, prune juice. Prunes, most people know, like, oh, those are the fruit that almost nobody eats unless they are constipated, right? That's what prunes are known for. Well, prunes can be very healthy for you. Lots of antioxidants besides the mild laxative-based effects. I've always said to my clients, if you're struggling a little bit with constipation, you can simply add 1 or 2 prunes maximum to your smoothie in the morning to help with moving the bowels. That's it. So that's a 3,000 to 3,500 for a score. Number 9, red wine. So it doesn't talk about organic red wine, doesn't talk about reduced sulfates, all the better things, right? The drier wines, all those things. But I will say that, again, I'm just going to bring you the unbiased truth. Red wine is high on the list, 2,500 to 3,700 for a score. And of course, red grapes are at 3,700. So remember, you don't need to drink the wine in order to get the antioxidants. The antioxidants come from the red grapes. So if you want to drink some, or you want to eat some red grapes, organic red grapes, not sprayed with pesticides, even better. So if you want to drink your red wine, again, let's go with the statistics. The statistics do say 3 glasses a week maximum of alcohol for men, 2 glasses of alcohol a week for women. Beyond that seems to increase cancer risk. And for me, just not willing to take the chance. All right, so grapes was number 8, red grapes. Number 7 was espresso coffee, coming in at 4,000 to 4,200. So interesting thing about espresso coffee is you can use most beans for that, just to let you know that. But what it is it's packed tighter and it's more condensed, which means you're getting more of a coffee chlorogenic, I believe are those the acids is the beneficial part of those coffee antioxidants. And what I'll say is this, is that there are some negative downsides to using an espresso maker. I've talked about that before. And why don't I link up my coffee episode on the healthiest way to extract that, which is typically a filtered coffee. You could do a filtered pour over with a non-bleached filter. So that's what I use, pour over, easy way to do it. And you could use more espresso grinds. It's just you're going to grind them up a little bit finer and you're going to extract more of the chlorogenic acid from that. All right. So that was number 7. Number 6 is blueberry juice. All right. Now you can eat the blueberries, right? So blueberries themselves the skin is actually where the antioxidants come from. So every single day I eat 1 pound, 16 ounces of blueberries each day. Comes in that kind of like bigger pint based size. And that's one thing that I do every single day. That's a great way for me to get my antioxidants. I love blueberries. And yeah, simple, low glycemic. That's a 5,000 on the score. That is number 6. So blueberries or blueberry juice. I always prefer people getting the fiber. You're always going to get more from the skins. The next one, following up, well, again, we're getting into the high zone now. Cranberries and cranberry juice. Am I recommending ever the juice of fruit? I am not. I'm recommending the whole fruit itself. Here's the nice thing. You can throw a cup of wild blueberries, organic wild blueberries, into your smoothie, like I often do, or you can add cranberries if you want. Now, the cranberries are going to be bitter, right? What's that saying I just gave you last week? Bitter is better. It's an Ayurvedic-based saying. My mentor passed it on to me. I'm sharing it with everyone. And so the thing about cranberries is just start small. So let's say in your smoothie right now, you're doing blueberries and you're doing half a frozen banana. Okay, great. So you don't start with another cup of cranberries, right? So all we want to do is maybe add a quarter cup of cranberries, maybe a handful, small handful, like 6 or so. And you just try that. Oh, pretty good, right? Now we'll add a little bit more. It's more tart. That's all there is to it. Cranberries though, they're at 9,000 on this scale, right? Blueberries are 5,000. But here's the other thing about cranberries. Not only are they great antioxidants, because that's what we're talking about right now, but they also are great for the bladder, the urinary tract. So great to be able to add those. They've got that D-mannose inside them. So good for urinary tract infections and more. Number 4, this is the one that we were chatting about last Friday on our research, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. And it was hibiscus flower, hibiscus tea. This is one that I'm kind of on and off of all the time. I love the flavor. Sometimes I just forget to add it back into my routine. What have I just started doing? Adding a little spoonful of that to my smoothie each day. Hibiscus tea tastes amazing. Unlike maybe the cranberries or some of these others, it's not as bitter. Yes, it adds a little bitter bite to it, but it's a delicious flavor. You can make it as an iced tea, 0 calories, a hot tea, or add it to your smoothie. I like to use powders when I use teas, and the reason is that I don't want all the microplastics that come from tea bags. So it's so hard to get a company to confirm with you that it is microplastic free. So if you have tea bags, typically you can steep it in a stainless steel steeper and no problem. You can then just pull that out and because you have to tear open the tea bag, put the loose leaf in there, but either buy a loose leaf and steep them or buy the powder. So I've just been adding a little powder to my smoothie, and a great way because hibiscus comes in at 9,300. So for me, I don't love cranberries. I like them. I have no problem putting a few in my smoothie, but it's not my favorite. And I love, drinking my smoothie. So I put in a little bit of that hibiscus tea powder or hibiscus flower powder, and it's phenomenal. And I get even more antioxidants than my cranberries. All right. The next one is pomegranate juice. We've been talking about that, using that in my practice for years. This is one we're actually not wildly against, putting a little shot, 3 ounces or so of pomegranate juice into your smoothie. And why could that be, or why is that? Because one, it is a ranking of 11,000. Now, 11,000 on that FRAP value. But the other part of it is that it's super low glycemic. So pomegranate juice, very low glycemic. You don't have to add a lot. You can add a few ounces to your smoothie if you choose to. Or of course, you can always use pomegranate powder. They even make a pomegranate extract as well. All right, we're at the top 2. I'm telling you right now, I don't know if you'll ever guess number 1. Think about it for a second if you get number 1. Even number 2, I didn't expect to see. Number 2 are blackberries. So blackberries and blackberry juice. Probably don't see blackberry juice too often, but of course you can get blackberries anytime you want at the market. Why might blackberries be one of the top ones? The reason is it's that dark color, that anthocyanins, plus the difference between blackberries and blueberries. Even if you look at the same size blackberry to blueberry, it has more skin. Right? Think about it. Each individual piece of that blackberry, it's like individual little berries on one larger berry. Each of those have skin. So you're just getting this massive amount of antioxidants. So blackberries, one of the healthiest you can eat. Of course, if you're not sensitive to them, do purchase them organic. All berries, difficult to, almost impossible to get pesticides off them. Yes, you should still clean them, but blackberries, blackberry juice, really powerful, 11,600 for a ranking. All right, here we are at number 1. I certainly didn't even have this on my top 10. Wasn't even in my thought process, but it came in at 13,300. Think about that. Your coffee is at a 2,500. This is a 13,300. If we talk about where do Americans get most of the antioxidants, right? It's from coffee. Well, think about this. It's called chokeberry juice, okay? You're not going to see it all over, but I did a little bit of research and found you can get it as what's called aronia, A-R-O-N-I-A, which is just another word for chokeberry, aronia powder. So what they've done is they've ground down these berries. So the berries are dark. They almost look like bilberries, like dark black berries. And they've dried them out, right? Turned them into a powder. And then they have this now as a powder. So once I'm done with my hibiscus powder, I'm actually going to switch over to aronia. And I'm going to see how this, I bet it will taste great, honestly, with blueberries and other berries. So I'm going to add this. They're going to be a little bitter. There's no doubt about that, but a really powerful antioxidant. So you've probably already heard, but how am I adding these into my daily diet? So I'm just not a fan of most teas. I don't like black tea. I don't like green tea. I'll drink a cup of ginger tea, a few others, like not bad, but not my favorite. So what am I adding in? Coffee. I have a half decaf each morning after breakfast, and I also have a decaf many days after lunch. Okay, so that'll stay in my routine. I don't do a lot of grape juice, don't really consume any alcohol. So blueberries are in my diet right now. Hibiscus is in the form of a powder. And then every once in a while, we have a little bit of pomegranate juice in the house. Give a little bit to our daughter sometimes. I eat blueberries over blackberries. I don't plan to switch. I really like my blueberries, but maybe I'll put some mixed berries into my smoothie. And then after I'm done with my hibiscus, I want to test out this aronia berry, also known as chokeberry, C-H-O-K-E, and then berry. So that is it. I would love to hear from you if you are already currently consuming any of these, how high they are up on this list, and if you plan to add any into your daily diet. Hopefully this show was helpful. I appreciate all your support of the show, and of course, I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Cabral Concept. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.